Okay, so greetings everyone. This is the first time on video, so uh, bear with it. But other than that, everything's fine over here. So for January, quite a busy month, as Tracy has mentioned in a previous podcast. That definitely things accelerated as things got more well known in the community at large and even in the real world. And so let's get started because there's a lot to cover. So in 1997, we have Operation Bay Shield was released to the masses. That is one of those iconic quick movie films that really left their mark because of their parodies and humor and just very good production values. Also, in next year, 1998, we have the first Quake 2 movie entitled The Mad Bomber, and then Eschaton, Darkness, Twilight, Strange Company's first major project. They released a teaser for that film in January, and then a year after that, quite a few important notes. The Quick team's Anthony Bailey released a tool called Rematic. It's a very interesting tool that allowed people to reshoot existing Quake 1 playback demos from new perspective. It's kind of like recamming, like Phil Rice did with his earlier videos before he started making films proper. Also, a very significant Phil Rice note as well. In 1999, in January, he released Father's Frags Best, his most notable before male restroom etiquette became more popular than that. So that's quite notable. Also, Hugh Hancock also announced the production start of Eschaton Nightfall. That is the second to Darkness Twilight, which he did in the Quake 2 uh, game engine with some tweaks with manual animation, facial animations, and all that good stuff. And then in 2000, quite notable, we have Machinima.com's founded and activated. Uh, that's when the whole community was able to coalesce into something under one roof, and it is survived until last year with its shutdown. But basically, this is the start of a very big community that has touched many people in many different ways, and all our lives are different because of it. So we definitely owe a lot to that. With that, we also had the first release for a Quake 3 Arena film called Quad God that was released by Triton Films by Joe Goss and Company. Quite a very interesting film. Check it out if you can. Also, Doc Nemesis, who is also another veteran of the community. One of his first production companies was called Sudden Death Productions. Uh, Quite an interesting group of characters and the films that they created. So quite a notable mark in history is that. Also, Ranger Gone Bad 3, we thought it was dead, but it's actually alive. It was released in January of 2000. The popular response to it was so overwhelming that they actually pulled the demo and redid it again to make it more polished after the response was quite interesting, to say the least. Also, A Warrior's Life by Donovan was released. That is the feature-length film that he did in regards to the life's journey of a warrior character dealing with isolation and then into the real world and having to process that as well. And then in the end of 2000 section for January, we have Strange Company's Ozymandias was released. That was the demo film that they did to show off the power of the Lithtech film producer technology that they were developing with Monolith Productions, the makers of Shogo and No One Lives Forever franchises. And then, shockingly enough, except for the anniversary for Machinima.com, its first year, I don't have anything for the year 2001, shocking as it may. In 2002, Machinima.com posted a teaser for a quite popular at the time contest called the Real Time, spelled REEL, Time Challenge Contest. We had a teaser poster that was posted, and just quite interesting. It was sort of like the 30-second films that they did years later, just to see what people could do in quick production of films slapped together and see what would stick. Also, a notable in 2002 was Psyk's Popcorn Jungle, one of the review sites like Jagged, Cineplex, retires. He stopped updating to his site, but he definitely left a mark on what he did for the community. In 2003, quite a few things. The Militia 2 team, which was very prominent in Half-Life Counter-Strike filmmaking, with a lot of After Effects added to their films to make it more cinematic. They won an award from File Planet's Best of 2002 User-Created Game Movies. They went out of 9 other nominees, so that's quite an interesting feat in itself. Also, Kane, 3D filmmaker Thain, he released his project that I've never let him live down because it's just kind of a funny project called Rebel versus Thug. It was done in collaboration with Chuck D of Public Enemy. It was a commercial project, and it was just to promote a music track for Chuck D's side project called Fine Arts Militia. And it's quite an interesting music video done in Quake 2, and quite an interesting track if you get a chance to hear it. Also, Fountainhead was also founded, again, like I said, in the 2000s, but here's an announcement where they had a collaboration between the music group 07 and a game project as well. At this point, it's not announced to what it is. That comes later, but just wanted to note the press release that came out. Also, FutureMark, which has been a very popular software suite for people who are gamers that needed a benchmark for gamers. They are former members of the Future Crew demo scene that you've heard me talk about before, and it's also covered in the book, Machinima Pioneers. They released some teaser movies for their latest edition of 3D Mark for 2003, quite amazing video sets that showed off the power of their 3D engine that they were creating to show off to really tax computer hardware at the time. Then moving on to 2004, quite interesting notes. The Red versus Blue team was able to release their very first episode of season 2 of their award-winning Machinima series to a packed house at the New York Lincoln Center. Quite an amazing feat, considering just coming from the humble beginnings in Texas. Also, Strange Company, which is Hugh Hancock's company, also had a big contract to work with the British Academy of Film and Television Arts for their upcoming interactive awards, which they set up the bumpers, so the introductions for the awards. That was quite an interesting project as well. And a very interesting collaboration that occurred with summer camp. People who in the States were able to, if they wanted to, take a 6-week summer camp course for teenagers and younger, to have a 6-week course be taught how to learn to make machinima. And the kids were very lucky to have one of our alumni, Brian from Dead on Cue Productions. He was able to be a teacher for that course for 2 seasons, so for 2 years, and he did a very wonderful job. So that's definitely noteworthy in history. And then and also the class was also sponsored by NVIDIA, so also another bit of very interesting reinforcement. Another note was the Ilklan released a video excerpt of their premiere performance of Lenny and Larry Lumberjack on the Campaign Trail that they did at the Void in New York City at the previous Machinima Film Festival that we all attended last year in November. Quite an interesting evening that was. And then another interesting thing from the Stanford Humanities Laboratory and Cantor Center for Visual Arts at the Stanford University, they created an exhibition that addresses the perverse influence of computer game culture. It showed off several Machinima films, and also in the description, the game scenes exhibition includes a Machinima movie series curated by Glenn Davis and Henry Lowood. Machinima are made and best viewed with the same software that's used to produce and play 3D action games, usually first-person shooters like Quake and Unreal. Just as game developers use software called game engines to produce the sophisticated graphics, lighting, and camera views in their games, Machinima makers take advantage of this sophisticated software as a found technology that can be applied to making animated movies. This exhibition ran from January 17th to April 4th of 2004. 2005 is quite interesting as well. One of the very first notables is a novella that was released by Packet Switch Press. That was a novella that was written by Mike Hoefflinger, I'm probably mispronouncing it, that was a very, very interesting novella that I actually really took a lot of pride in, and really he hit the mark on trying to explain what it would be like if you were trying to do a machinima film in the real world with big name talent and trying to do it in a commercial setting. And it's quite an interesting read, and it has kind of like that Michael Bay feel to it as well, but definitely something worth reading if you can find it. It's entitled Moving Pictures, and again, it's written by Mike Hoefflinger. Another anniversary, Sims 99, one of the biggest repositories for Sims movies done by Nova. Quite a few people I've met through the community have started there, and it was great, a really good repository for movies of the like, and was quite a mainstay for the years that it was open, but definitely this is when they started. Another notable is that a World of Warcraft movie that was done by Tristan Pope, who used to work for Blizzard as part of their cinematics team. One of his very first popular films called I Surrender. It was a music video using Celine Dion's I Surrender. It became so popular on YouTube that Blizzard actually put it on their main page, which is unheard of back then because it was just getting machinima for World of Warcraft. It was just getting started. So quite an interesting mark. Also in January, Paul Marino, he was headed to the Sundance Film Festival to head a panel on the discussion of machinima with the help of Bernie Burns and the RoosterTeeth team. So again, notable because Sundance is the premier place in the United States to check it out. So the next thing is quite interesting, an untold thing where the Los Angeles Machinima Collective, also known as the LAMC, announced their first machinima production, William Shakespeare's Macbeth. But what's interesting is that it never really came to fruition, but they did have a poster made up, which will hopefully add to the links in the blog. But I think Ricky was actually part of this, if I remember correctly. He might not remember, and I might be wrong, but it's quite interesting to see if he was attached to that because all the stars seem to align in that. Matt Kellen, who you may know from Short Fuse, the creators of Movie Storm, he announced his book that he created called Machinima. It's the coffee table book that had all those really nice pictures with Ruby on the front. He announced his book in this month, so it was going to come out in July. So definitely notable because again, the second book to be announced and hopefully released in the year of 2005. The other one is Epic Games finally released the grand finals of the Make Something Unreal contest for the non-interactive movie category. These 5 films were notable in their own rights for all the different things they brought to the table. The winners, The Journey, won first place. That was very exceptional. It really deserved the $25,000 cash prize. And the others were Bot, second place, Sparked Memory, third place, Scrap, fourth place, and Damnation at fifth place. So definitely well earned. The movies in this category were very well done, and the cream of the crop really did show in this list. Also, another notable as well, in another year, Paul Marino and team from the Fountainhead Entertainment had a collaboration with the RoosterTeeth, and they put on a machinima film discussion at Sundance again. So quite another notable where it's expanding again, getting more people involved into the discussion at one of the premier places to do it in. This is kind of a disappointment, but it's still notable that Fountainhead Entertainment's tried to convert their machinimation tool. They were going to do version 2 and actually have it work with Doom 3, with its cinematic splendor at the time, but unfortunately it didn't happen. But still, it was good to dream and the possibility, that it could have happened, but it didn't, unfortunately. 2006, we have notables. Sims 99 celebrates its first anniversary with a month-long party stuffed with interviews, contests, and retrospectives. So definitely that was quite an interesting feat to make it. And at the time, it was its biggest archive, The Sims' biggest movie archive on the interweb. Another release that's quite important is Decorgal released her first episode in her multi-episode series Adventures in Dating. It was one of those film series that definitely took the childless out of the filmmaking, where it definitely dealt with serious subjects of the real world, about relationships and dealing with, the different personalities that people have and trying to understand each other and how their comfortability to, how people's personalities react and all that, and how going through that process is growth and also 2 steps forward and 2 steps backward. Definitely a worthy series. It actually did well over 15 episodes, so definitely take a look at it if you're interested. Another notable is that Britannica Dreams Michelle, who has a lot of accolades for doing the Snow Witch, she actually did a short. Unfortunately, I don't have a copy of it, but she won a Xbox 360 of all things by winning a site, the Global Gaming first annual holiday movie contest, with her film Santa Says. So definitely that's reinforcing, machinima as a important tool, also expressing stories in a holiday setting and getting a really good prize for the effort. Another thing with Xbox, a UK site by the name of Xbox World 360 has partnered with HaloBungie.org, that is the premium site for all things fan, community-run site that, as you know, in a previous history, they discovered You're Fired, that little short that was quite an interesting clip of, a Spartan fricasseing or well done cooking of a sim. But anywho, I digress. They are doing a collaboration where they will hold a machinima contest to have people submit their films to be included in their cover discs every month. So that's again reinforcement of machinima getting to the point of being in the real world more and more. And another real world event as well, according to the publication The Hollywood Reporter, which is the primo publication for people all things Hollywood. They were announcing a virtual filmmaking contest that was using Lionhead's the movies in a collaboration with Chrysler, the automaker, and will be launching this contest at the Sundance Film Festival. It's being sponsored by Chrysler, and it's basically they want to make a short film, and the only requirement that I'm aware of is that a Chrysler vehicle has to make an appearance toward the movie, so that's not too hard, but quite an interesting collaboration. Another note is Wired Magazine also released an article on the movies and its current impact on the public due to the movies that have been created from it, such as the press attention getting the French democracy. As probably a lot of you know, we covered this pretty much in depth on the machinima pioneers and the impact that the French democracy had in terms of combining machinima techniques and whatnot, and dealing with the real world ramifications of certain events in history and how people process it and whatnot. Sort of again like Decorgal did with Adventures of Dating, but a subject a little bit more serious and impactful, to no fault to her, but basically real world ramifications. And finally, Hugh Hancock steps down from Machinima.com. He's devoting more time to his feature-length project, which is Bloodspell, and also wants to let the youngins have some fun with the site and whatnot. So, changing of the guard, and as some of you have known as well, that was when I stepped down as well, the next month after that. But again, notable the changing of the guard. But things change and things have to grow and move on and so forth. So that's about it. All right, Tracy and company, enjoy the rest of the month, and I will see you next month, hopefully. Ta-ta.